equity market and the expected economic data for the month of April. And on today's program, we're going to focus purely on capital market activities. That's why we're going to review the capital market, stock market first, then we'll now go to the economic data we're expecting after this short break. The market data for yesterday, comparing what happened on the market on Wednesday and Tuesday, knowing that yesterday was the mid-day for the week and market had a missed performance. But before we go, I want to read the market data. The market opened with 38,766.13 and closed the day with 38,774.03, gaining marginal 0.02. And not only that, the deal for the day shows that there was a lot of activities in the market, but we had about 6,103 deals compared to 4,775 deals for the previous day, which was on Tuesday. This are telling that activity is coming back to the market for social volume of transaction for a day. Then the volume traded volume because of the transaction between different companies and the total for the day. We had about 356.46 million shares against 224.59 million for the day. On this note, recorded a growth of 58.71% in volume, while market cap, which is the overall thing, about it opened at 20.28 trillion and closed about 20.29 trillion, gaining marginal also 0.2. Today, the market activities for the day. Yeah, and from this data, what is your take? How do you see the market? I said it was a mixed market that has a negative breadth and high volume.
Yeah, the truth is that for some time now, then we are going to have a mixed reaction, because when you want to look at why are people investing, what are the things that is actually moving the market at the moment, you realize that people are positioning based on the full year earnings, the dividend announced. So you are going to see people qualify from one dividend, moving to another one. So you see market playing by the release, the closure dates of different listed equities. And again, when you want to start looking at the performance of the market, whether it's gained or it's lost, you realize that there are some days we may have 3 stocks being adjusted for dividend. And all these things will actually lead the performance of the all-share index. Now, because of this, I want to say that if you want to invest at the moment, it is better you follow your stocks, the stocks you want to put your money in, rather than following the lead indicators movement. Because the lead indicator index will be affected by some factors that might not be necessary for your investment objective at the moment. For example, on the 1st of April, GTV and some other stocks, some stocks were adjusted. If I'm correct, about 2 or 3 of them were adjusted, and you see the market down. And this is what we'll be seeing for some days now.
Yes, you really have explained what happened in the market yesterday. We're looking at the top trades. At this top trade, we'll have Zenith Bank topping the 5 top trades for the day, followed by Access Bank and Transcorp, GTB, and Mutual Benefit. And I would say for Zenith to trade about 49 million shares for a day, say that there is something happening in Zenith Bank. What is your take in that?
Now, let me start from here. If you check performance by volume, you will always see 2 stocks there. Yeah. They hardly miss the table. First 5, you will see Zenith, you will see Guarantee Trust. It means that this is where most investors are.
Yeah.
Now, that Zenith traded that volume means that investors are positioning, of course, for the first quarter. We know we're beginning to hear the news of first quarter here and there. And before we know what is happening, we are going to start seeing the first quarter performance, which is going to tell us our expectation in the half year. And so you see that people start positioning that result now. So you see movement in GT, you see it in Zenith, you see it in other banking
just like
stocks.
Access to was among the top.
So
and also Access, like you said, was
now Access, you see that we are looking at the closure date,
correct,
which is I think on the today.
Yeah.
Today is on the night.
Yeah, qualification day.
So people are
tomorrow is to be tomorrow Friday night.
So today is so people are actually positioning for the dividend qualification. That's why you see it coming up with that volume yesterday.
And also, don't add to what you are saying. Also, if you look at the performance of Access Bank, it's not a bad performance. And being a bank, that also that is expanding capacity, people see that there's future in Access Bank. And also look at stock like Transcorp. Now, Transcorp also have been, as you just said, one of the top trade for over 3 months now. Since after their the news of acquiring a share stake in one of the oil company, and also since they bought the Afra plant in the east. This stock have been featuring on the top trade.
If you actually ask me, I would say Transcorp is a stock you position for the future, because so many things are going on in Transcorp that will result to a better valuation in the future. But if you look at the current position now, if you don't see the future, you begin to say, why am I here? But the truth is that it's good for long-term investors. They don't pay very good dividend now, and it's not even very sure that dividend comes at every time. But the truth is that when everything is sorted out and the company begins to grow, you are going to see the true picture of this company. And like we always say on this program, that investor will value you by your numbers. So definitely you see a better valuation in Transcorp. So if you are in Transcorp, I'm saying that just stay there. It will eventually result to profit to you.
Yeah, just as you just said, every investment is against what? Against expectation. Those that are seeing activities in Transcorp today might see, oh, this company is not doing well. Like what I told them in one of the my forum, that when Transcorp release their full year result, if it is negative and price goes down, it's time to jump and buy more. Why? Because as you just said, I was seeing a better future for the company. That's why every investment, even if it's a company, is against expectation. Either you are investing against a high yield, you are investing against expectation of result or dividend. That means as an investor, don't be carried away with what the company have done in the past. Look at what is happening in the present and the future of that company.
And consider the government policy
this is a long way
to what the company is actually doing.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. And also when you look at it, like you just said something that really touched me, and which part of what I discussed in the master class, that using the all-share index or a major market performance indices to measure the market at this time mislead investors.
Yes.
You need to go to what I call the sectors that control the market. Market within market. Those sectoral things is what related to what is happening in the world, in the economy. Especially when you look at our own market, that about just 10 to 8 stocks control almost 70% of the index. When such stock go up or down, to reflect on the index. Because at yesterday, when the market opened, the index was almost in red. But when MTN and Nestle and Flour Mill gained, it brought the market out of a bad water. Market closed positive marginal.
But if you ask me, don't you think something should be done to that? Perhaps the weight given to those stocks should be very low, so that they stop affecting the entire. There should be a way to allow almost all the stocks, not minding the volume and the listed share outstanding, not minding the price you are selling. There's a way to statistically bring the weight to the same, such that one stock doesn't dictate the market. It's possible statistically.
Yeah, it's possible. But I'll tell you, all over the world, that is how it is. Why? Well, when I study S&P, when I study the NASDAQ index, I noticed that it is the sectoral performance, industry by industry, that to the company that really shows what is happening in the market. That's why I say market within the market. That's why you have to look at what the sectoral movement. And that we want to look at the sector.
Anyway, I think that is what gives birth to sectoral indices. Yeah, exactly. So that if you feel the all share index is misleading you, you can start looking at the sector
by sector. If you look at the sectoral performance for yesterday, banking sector lost which for a day negative 3.12. And also seeing the food industry, that is consumer goods, was up by 1.88, while insurance was industrial goods was down by negative 0.14, and insurance also in the same bad quarter. lost 1.71, and the oil, which is the energy index, also was down. Then from this sectoral indicators or indices, what is your position?
The truth is that if you look at the banking sector, it's not as if there are bad numbers. It's not as if the price is so high that people are exiting. It's because people are moving from one place to the other, and again they're in search of dividend and price adjustment. Because of course, if Access Bank is eventually adjusted, you see the effect on the index. So if you look at almost all this index, you see that what is actually happening there, because as we speak, investors have reasons to invest because there are results. You have seen the good ones, you have seen the bad ones, you have dates, so you can even measure time of entry and exit. So the market is sweet as we speak. And so the reason why you see all this trend is because investors are moving from one stock to the other, and price are being adjusted here and there.
And also, I see that also when you see the sector index like the banking sector pulling back or correcting, it's also creating opportunity for investors, especially now that the treasury bill has moved almost to 8% in yield, knowing that the banking sector play more on the treasury bill, and that also double what their returns, because you know by now, as at 2020, if you look at the interest return or interest gain for the banks, they are almost flat. Some of them declined because there was a bad market in terms of yield and rate was low. But now we are seeing that the treasury bill is coming to almost to 8.8% now. It's a plus for them. And not only that, as the economy is recovering, we have seen indicators we want to discuss later that in Q4 2020 we have come to a positive territory in terms of GDP. And also, if you look at the potential managers for January and February, perspective margin is still looking up. That means that the possibility that we're going to see a better GDP for first quarter is there already. For that, investors will take advantage of this pullback in the banking sector to position. But especially, like I just mentioned, that they just mark down assets where GTB and Zenith Bank the previous week. Now they are going ahead to see this company. They have shown that they are resilient in terms of performance. That means when they come down, they still look what undervalued. For me, is that better for? And also, don't forget that research have shown that if you look at the 20 years market data for NSE, the best month and the best quarter to buy stock remain April and the second quarter, because they give you insight what you're likely to see for the year. Don't forget that in 2020, the market was almost at a 11 years low in the month of March, late March and early April before market rebound. Now we're expecting the first quarter result of this company. What do you think?
Technically, when prices are going down, and you are sure that the fundamentals are intact, it is the time to enter.
Exactly.
So, because the way it is viewed is that a trend can catch you unaware, and you won't be able to join. Like they used to say, you don't join a moving train except you want to break your leg or your back.
Also, we say you don't have a falling knife.
Yes. So when the trend has gone and you missed out, anytime you see prices coming down, you just know that this is your own opportunity to join the trend and make the money. Because, of course, any adjustment that we are seeing now will come as a result of adjustments here and now, obviously. And if you enter, definitely the first quarter will come. The second quarter will follow. Especially for some of those equities that normally give interim dividend. So you are sure that when you join at the pullback point now, then you are sure of profit at least by June, July, which is a very good one.
And also, like we just said, when a company has a tradition of growing their earnings, having an uptrend in earnings, and for example, we have seen the full year result of this company, and we have studied their movement. They are a company that has that pattern of doing well in first quarter, that pattern of doing well in the last quarter of the year, to have that. If you know a company that has an earning that is trending from Q1, Q2, the trending of such company, if you are buying at this early, when you are seeing this pullback, it's an opportunity for you to take advantage of the pullback, because when you enter at a low price and you now start releasing impressive earning, it will sustain that price to see gradually. That is why a good long-term investor should not just wait until he sees number before he buy. Look at when before the market enter. That when it comes, that trend will carry you. Like you just said, trend is your friend in an investment. Especially the positive trend, not the negative one that is going down. When you see a positive trend in terms of earnings, in terms of price, you smart.
Let me add this to what you have just said. You see, The truth is that the market is actually the best for long-term investors. Yeah. And when you are doing long-term investment, you might not need all this trend and here and up or down. The earnings is coming up or down. All you need to know is that the fundamentals of the companies are good and they are intact. When you enter, you are a long-term investor. Are they going to give me returns at the end of every year? Those are the things you are going to look at. And so you see that you can stay in a stock for 5 years, for example, and that same stock will move from 20 naira to 9 naira. Within that same 5 years, it will move back to 30 naira. So your target is your dividend, is your fundamental. Are they dying? Are they doing very well? Those are the things you observe when you are doing such investments.
Yeah, just to add also to what you just said, like always tell people that follow us on any platform online, Facebook, that in equity investment, that 80% of price movement is controlled by or imparted by what or influenced by what liquidity and sentiment. Why 20% comes from the company, which is company's earnings. You as a trader or investor, you want to know where the market going, and that is a very big thing that we should learn. Many people don't invest just keeping their eyes in the water, close eyes. No, you need to know where the market going. Is the market going in my direction or against me? Because when market is going up, there's liquidity. Market will die. Like we just said, many long-term investors, they target dividend. Opportunity for them to cash out their capital vision, they don't take that action. Because if a stock will go for 19 naira, move to 30 naira, 19 naira, because they are paying dividend, you can equally sell, buy more unit and get more dividend. Because it's about strategy. That is that any investor in the market, whether you're short-term or long-term, it's about your strategy and your investment objective. That is why most times they need to also ask people and learn. And that is why we are on this program to educate Nigerians how to make what informed investment decision and also how to run their business. Because I'm telling you that if we have every small business here and there, employment issue in Nigeria will be solved. Not only that, those companies that are small today will become a listed company tomorrow. That's why I think government should take time, let's educate Nigerians on how to go into entrepreneurship. That will go a long way to reduce unemployment. Yes, before we go further, we want to look at the top gainers for the day. For yesterday. Jai's Bank topped the gainers chart with 10%. That is the maximum. And again, I want to say something on this before we answer my question today. This 10%, if a stock can give 10% in a day, positive, and we're having inflation about almost 18% now, if you see it, then if this stock is maintain this trend for 2 days, that is 7 days, that is almost 20%, and they pay you dividend, you have a yield. Automatically, the stock market is a place for you to go to hedge against inflation. For me, because even when prices of goods are going up, the companies will adjust their price to go up, and they are making profit. And if profit support their number, that means the only place you can hedge your against inflation now is equity market, because the way inflation is going is threatening other investment already. For me, because if you're having inflation at almost 18%, and the highest yield in the bond market is 8-9, for fixed income is around the 9%, automatically you're on negative return. For me, I believe that hedging against inflation is the right to be in the right stock that have good dividend yield. That will help you to hedge against inflation. Yes, for there is
you have said it all, but let me just add this.
No problem.
In the financial world, there's a saying that says the higher your risk, the higher your return. The stock market is a market with high risk. So, like you said, you must be able to do your findings and be sure that you are in the right stock. Of course, you won't be able, because you are taking a high risk when you come to the stock market. You are sure of getting something better. And as you are sure of getting something better, you are also sure of incurring a heavy loss. If you don't ask, for example, there was a year I met an investor and we were discussing. He bought a stock when that stock was about to delist. Why? He did not ask question. So he bought that stock today. 2 weeks after, the stock delisted from the... So you see, I know someone that bought 7-Up about 4 days to delist because you did not ask. So you are taking a very high risk. And you see, if you are coming to the stock market, yes, you can make money there. You can hedge against inflation. In fact, you can make 10% in a single day. In a week, you can make up to 50%. But what we are saying is that it's better you ask questions.
Get the right information.
So that you are in the right stock at the right time. And you understand why you are in the stock. So when that thing that brought you into the stock is no more there, you know how to come out.
Yeah. I think that is a good one. When the thing that attracted you start disintegrating. So because I tell you that investors against expectation. Once they attracted to that company, when they are not there again, start running. Start running. Yes, there is gain.
There is people actually, to me, I think people are positioning for the 3 kobo dividend they recently announced, which is a good one, at least still better than of course, like you said, the stock has done 10%. Now, my fear is this: the rate at which it's going before the markdown. Don't you think people who have made 20%,
go now,
who have made 30%,
they will take profit,
will just dump to
exactly. That is
so the trend is neither here nor there. But the truth is that people who want to benefit from the 3 kobo are actually moving the stock.
Let me ask you what you just said. Somebody said this something yesterday that really interests me. And one of the player in the market. He said yesterday he entered Jaiz at 60 kobo. Exactly thought he sold that position that same yesterday. He now look at the market. Where is the next place to be? He now look at the COVID. Now COVID also declared the same 3 kobo that Jaiz, COVID business.
Okay.
This is a COVID dividend, not COVID-19. COVID business solution.
Okay.
They declare also 3 kobo. And the thought selling around was 21 kobo. He said he only don't know that means the 66 kobo that he has sold in Jaiz will give him even 9 kobo dividend in kobo. He didn't not jump into the store. And not only that, the stock gained the same day yesterday, almost 5%. He called me and said, you know that when money? I said, yes. I said, this is a good one to trade. That's why investor should also plan, have your long-term portfolio for long-term, have also your trade. Like today, you just said, if you want to trade, you must understand the market you are trading. Don't just jump into what you don't know. That's why we are there in Investor to educate people how to invest wisely and make money from equity market, because there's opportunity there. Don't try the opportunity and lose the opportunity. Make money.
I think you should still talk to that man that should look at the liquidity so that I don't stay too long in it.
He knows.
So if you stay too long, the day he wants to sell, if you sell now that people are looking for dividend.
The next one there is initial PS. It's one of the it's a contest stock. Again also.
To me, I think that's just
okay. He also gained 9.52 yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah, for me, what do you say is the response for this?
To me, it's just market forces.
I think that's correct. Market, because also volume is also important. They just market forces. Then the next one there is Royal Exchange Assurance. He moved from 36 kobo to 39 kobo, gaining 8.33% for a day, just a day.
To me, I think people are actually, it's market expectation because they are yet to release their full year numbers. Yeah. And people are actually having a positive expectation from them. And that's why you see such movement in Royal Exchange. I just hope nobody will be disappointed.
I say that investment is against what? Expectation. What you do as an investor, once you are investing against expectation, once that expectation is not met, don't wait for any story. Cost your loss. That's why in investor data, we teach investors how to set your stop loss on time. Before you enter a stock, have a stop loss. Like if you know this price, I'm exiting. Don't wait until it will come back tomorrow. No. Enter, exit at the right price because you have set your stop loss. Once it's touch there, sell. Don't waste time. Then the next on that chart is Japan Gold. And Japan Gold is a stock that moved from 20 kobo to 69 kobo. You see, can you imagine the capital position? It's not that moved from 20 kobo to 69 kobo. Within just the space of 4 weeks.
Ambrose, if you ask me. What?
No, now precisely. Now that I have pulled back again, it's now selling around 49 kobo. It's gained almost 18.16 to close at 53 kobo. What is your stake and advice for investors?
If you ask me,
yes,
there's no basis.
Correct.
For the movement. What are the bases with which we invest? What we trade in stocks is news. Now, we want to see their financials. If your business is worth 10 million naira, and I come and give you 100 million naira, I'm just playing games with my money. Yes. We need to see your figures. We need to be able to justify the investment we are doing. We need to do the right valuation of what the company is actually worth. So to me, if you ask me, I would say those in that stocks are actually playing at a very big risk because they are only following the trend, but they don't have the numbers. What if the company comes tomorrow with a loss position? What happened to your investment?
You just said something that I told one of the investor that called me. I said, this is a company that they are in the market before now for almost 5 years. There's no dividend. The news of going to gold mining just came to the market. It turned everything around. Price are going up. I said, have they released any number to say whether this number is positive?
Correct or not?
Also, have they really settled the decision with federal government? Because you know that in Nigeria, before you can mine anything, you don't have to do resources. You have to do what approval for federal government, the state government. You have to do all the documentation before you can move to site. Have they moved to site? I asked all these questions. Yes, we are still here, but for me, I will recommend good, that pour good to anybody when attaching what the number. Don't follow sentiment. Sentiment can take you up and bring you down.
Can also crash you.
It's the thing. Like what you just said, if I invest in there, you have to work, be careful. You have to work, be careful.
Be careful.
Yeah. The last one there is consolidated market insurance. You know, it moved with just 6.9% for the day, which is not bad. You know, the price opened at 29 kobo and closed at 31 kobo. This is good. It's an insurance company. And I'll tell you also, look at the gainers. These are low cap stock that talk to the gainers. What's also the sign? What is the sign?
People are actually looking for low cap stock to trade because it can easily return to you. Then again, like CHI, to me, I think it's both market forces and expectation. But whichever way, the stock has emerged among the gainers. But let's see what happens tomorrow. Today, at the end of today's trade.
Just like you just said that investors should look at the low cap stock, but I would say also add to it that the previous rally we saw in 2020 was a lot of what the high cap stock gaining. Now I believe that is the time for the medium and low cap stock to do their own. Especially now we're seeing our numbers are becoming better, and also like I said, I give it to Nigerian corporate Nigerians. If you look at all the numbers that came during 2020, despite the recession, pandemic, COVID-19, whatever I call it, company came out with good results for the year. That's why I say I think our government should learn from the corporate world. If a bad year was a good number, let's also deliver democracy, the delivery of democracy to Nigeria, even in the bad year. Let's see.
You know that some of the things that supported the performance is also that government focus a little bit more on Nigerian organization companies. You see loans coming at a cheaper rate. They make funds available to them at a lower rate. There's a lot of backups.
Government intervention.
There are a lot of intervention here and there, which also supported them because we are actually looking for ways to come out of recession. And that's why you see most of the performance despite the COVID-19, because we got what we don't usually get from the government. And that's to tell the government that when you spend in, you will gain it.
Okay.
Rather than running outside the country as if your own country cannot look at the other.
Look inward.
So let's look inward. Yeah. Let's support our own and build our own and come out better.
Thank you very much. I like that. Let's look inward and look at our own. That's correct. Yes, look at the top losers for the day. Seeing Sterling Bank topping the losers chart with 9.47%. No, it opened at 169 kobo and closed at 153. What is your take? Purely, I would say this profit taking.
Profit taking. Then again, they announced dividend of 5 kobo, and the closure date for that dividend is still on the 16th of April. Oh. So you see investors say, you are still 16. I can leave you here.
Let me buy the one.
That is going to give me dividend. And when it's close to 16, you see people come and position for the dividend.
The only company I know in this sector is really the healthcare sector. It is Pharmadeco. Their performance of number and price has been opposite to what we're seeing in others. What is your take? Like, you still lost yesterday.
Because their performance is negative. This company have not actually reflected what we are seeing in companies like May and Baker, in Nimet, in Fisin, in GSK. They are actually backward. I think the management of this company need to look at what is happening everywhere, because you need to look at your industry, look at how to pitch your tent and take a better share of the sector. I think something if the management sit up, something good will still come from this
because the sector is enjoying some positive sentiment, even incentive from government.
But it's not reflecting on that.
Not only that, the happening there, like what we just said, that what's happening unfolding today also support the sector. Because when you are battling with pandemic and all those stuff, you need to spend more on your healthcare, your public health, which the government is doing. It's also to reflect on this number. But okay, let's assume that the government, as you just said, let the management look inward and go to the drawing table and change their strategy. Yes, Prestige Assurance was also among the top loser for yesterday. What is the position? They lost 8.7%. And it opened yesterday at 46 Kobo and closed at 42 Kobo.
I think the problem with them is also the closure date. You know, they announced the dividend, and the closure date is still 17th of May, not April. 17th of May. So before we start seeing the movement towards this dividend in this stock, it will be in May, maybe the second week of May. So investors can afford to exit this stock now and come back later.
Okay, the life of Aduve, the former Fotoye,
AP to Fotoye to Adobe.
Yeah, no, it lost yesterday, lost 6.91, let's say 6.9. No, it closed at 14.15 after opening the day at 15 naira 20 kobo.
If you ask me, I think investors are still managing this stock.
They say managing it
because paying 19 kobo.
For stock of selling for 14 naira.
And this is stock that was 100 and something.
100 and something.
Before.
The highest has gotten 380.
So you're coming this low and still giving us this type of dividend. I think investors are still very nice.
Nice.
So I've kept it at that level. Yes. Because if you do the valuation, actually, the drop in the performance, you won't value this stock for more than 10 naira, less than 10 naira. The valuation will be around that 8. I've not done it, but if I do the valuation, it should be below 10 naira for this stock. So when you see all these movements, investor actually knows what they are doing. They know what they are doing.
Okay, the last the top 5 winners is livestock feed. Livestock feed. Now this stock, I'm so passionate about this stock, livestock feed, and people don't know why. Because I say that agriculture sector is the only stock I know that is selling at a good, at a low price. I can value it, can see some value in that stock. Now, it lost 5.88, closed at 1 naira 76 kobo.
I think it's just market forces. Because eyes are on that sector. Because that's where the strength of Nigeria will still come from.
If we address our security.
Because as it is, the problem of agriculture is the insurgency. People have invested in their farm, yet they cannot access that farm. So you see a lot of problems on ground. Monies are being wasted in the farm. I think I was reading the story about Okomo, as some people were dragging their site with them. So they face all these challenges, and that's why you still see these lapses in that sector. That sector, for example, Okomo really paid 7 naira. You can imagine a company from that sector paying 7 naira. It's a wonderful. I think we are going there now.
Yeah, look at the earnings now. The earnings segment. Now the earnings is, I just mentioned Okomo. Okomo also is the first one to discuss this morning. Okomo top line was positive, and I would say in all standard, Okomo results met investor standard, because we have a standard investor that is tough to say this result is good. But they good, you must have a top line that is 15 plus and a bottom line of 15 plus. Our Okomo had 24% growth on the top line, which is the sales revenue or turnover, whatever you call it. Then while the PAT, which is the earnings, had about 54% growth. This is fantastic. No, the stock, the company, top line for 2019 was 18.86 billion, and it moved to 23.46 billion, recording 24%.
If you ask me, that's an outstanding performance.
It tells you that this company is eating into another market, or it's expanding, or it's introducing new products. And also from your side, what can you say is playing the not only that, just hold on top of because the top line was up at the same time. Not only that, the earning per share also moved from 5 naira 29 kobo to 8 naira 16 kobo. And at the end of the year 2020, despite the pandemic year, they paid you 7 naira.
From 4 naira.
Yeah, against 4 naira. What's your
The truth is that let's come down to oil alone.
Yes, palm oil. Yeah.
the truth is that Okomu oil cannot meet demand of red oil in Nigeria alone, talk less of other African countries. That business alone is strong enough to make Okomu. And they are not even staying on that alone. They have other investments. So if Okomu is coming up this way, I would say this is what we have expected in a long time. And I trust investors. They will value them right for this position.
And also, don't forget that this company also be concerned in terms of paying dividend, for years. And also, one of the defensive stock we recommend investors for because of the share initiative is not much, and the price is what a bit.
And the shareholding structure too.
And also, at this point now, if you look at the industry, we have Okomu there, we have Presco. Then before we go to Presco Resort, I remember when they closed the border. That was last year, the last 2 years. Last year they closed the border 2019. The MD came out on the national television to say that the demand alone, the request alone they have, that they can supply for the next 3 years. The demand alone, I'm telling you that people are going after this palm oil for industrial use, for consumption and all.
Yes,
not only that, also the industry, there is a room of transformation in that industry too. I also adding value to all of them in that sector. I believe investors that are thinking now can equally look the way of this sector and take advantage of the opportunity. Also, we want to look at the result that also came from Presco, the same industry. Presco result for me is not a bad one to also meet our standard because it had 21% up and at 37% up. Payout might not be too attractive because this is a company that the sales revenue was up by 24% from 19.72 billion to 28.89 billion. This is fantastic for me. And also the PAT, which is the earning, also was up from 3.8 billion to 5.26 billion, representing 37% up. But where investor or even me as analyst will also a bit realize that this company also their dividend payout was just 2 naira against 2 naira. That means a flat dividend. But the good thing is that they didn't adjust their dividend down. And also we know where we are coming from 2020. But I'm not taking a space for them, but for them also to maintain that flat, they have this. That means that they are expanding or they are keeping their retained earnings up. Instead of asking investors to invest more, they can use their retained earnings to expand their business. All best known to them, but for them to cover 2 naira against 2 naira, for me, okay, but only that the price is high. The yield will be very low. But these are stuff that you also can use to play for defensive. Particularly if you are looking at the agricultural sector.
But if you ask me concerning Presco, I want to say that what you want to look at is that are they making profit?
Yes, they're making profit.
Now, if the profit does not grow, if the dividend does not grow in the same trend with the profits, it means that the management are thinking right. Because it means that whatsoever they have extra will be used for business. And of course, if you check the cost of interest they paid on loans, you see that it's reduced. So it means that they're actually looking for a way to run the business very well, better, and bring in a better profit. Because the truth is that if you look at that sector, the two competitors are Presco and Okomu. And from what we are seeing from Okomu, one will say Okomu is the leader now. But the truth is that with time, with what they have saved, with what they have returned into their retained earnings, so we know that they are going to do a better business, they are going to do a better expansion, and they will come out better. But again, we start seeing this from the first quarter.
That they have good sites.
Yes.
What to expect for 2021.
What to expect.
Okay. The baby one I always am in love with because of the price and the price movement. This is stuff that moved from 40 kobo to 3 naira 11 kobo within 2020. Investor really smart when they bank with livestock. And livestock results were also for the year 2020 was positive. That means that the top line was a bit lower than our own expectation or our own criteria. Like we said, that it must be 15% plus, but here they are having 12.29%. No, their turnover was up by 12.9. It moved from 9.95 billion to 11.9 1.7 billion. And it tells you that the company is still a small company. You can look at the profit from Okumu and the top line from Okumu and see that it can't grow. Okumu is putting about 23 billion. White is putting about 28. Now he's putting about 11 point something billion. There is also a company that's coming up in that sector. And for me, I said that the high cap stocks, the move price for last year, the stock we are looking at to move price this year in terms of movement is the medium and low cap stock. And investors don't know why. Because when all those stocks are at the top there, the yields are low. You look for stock that has high yield and the values are low. And why the values are low is they are doing well in just market oscillation. This stock also grow their bottom line, which is the earnings, by 373%.
That's outstanding.
Outstanding from 106.35 million to 503.18 million. You can see that this is huge for me. And not only that, their earning per share moved from 2 kobo to 4 kobo. It says that the most 100% growth in their earnings. For me, it's a stock that they didn't recommend dividend, and we know that for the last 6 years they've not paid dividend, but they came back to profit in 2019. I believe that they are not rushing to pay out dividend, but their performance will also support their price. It moved from 40 kobo to 311 kobo before adjusting their profit taking. Now we're expecting their first quarter to come. For me, investor or trader should look at how they can take advantage of this low price now and make money from it. What's your position on that?
When I saw the result, what I tried to do was to check their retained earnings. It was positive. So I look at their shareholders' fund. It was positive. It means that this company is coming up with something. The only thing that can stop them are the management. If the management are not ready to take risk, if they are not ready to expand, if they are not thinking of better opportunities, then the company might stay low. But if they are thinking right, because if I am there, I'll be looking at companies like Okomo and Presto, and I'll be targeting them. That will be my measure. In fact, at this point, I will see myself as not performing. So I'll be looking at them until I'm able to surpass them.
Yes.
I'm not running a company.
Yeah, that is good. And the good thing again is that, like what I always tell you, that as a trader, the thing that I look at is there liquidity entering the store, and liquidity entering the store. Look at the volume they are trading in the store, and also what you just said, the shareholder structure of this company is tight. A major investor also had about 73% holding. That means we have about 27% outside the company. That means the price will not go down as much because those holding 75% will not sell immediately. That means for me, seeing this stock at this low price, attractive price for you to enter if you're a trader. Just calculate your step and take one decision. And I believe those that are in master class now will be smiling when they are seeing some prices that are because as of I discussed with them that the prices are good for you to buy. It's within the buy rate. Jump in and make your money from them. Yes, for these earnings, we'll stop the earnings here today, but we'll look at the economic data that we're expecting in this month of April. Knowing that I said it that April, from the statistics we have studied, especially from Nigeria Stock Exchange, that April and the second quarter of the year is a buy period. People take position because after they have seen the earnings for the previous year, they are taking position for the first quarter and for a rally in the new year. For me, there are some economic indicators that you need to look at to guide you whether the economy is doing well or not. And those indicators also support the market if they come positive. I want to discuss some of these indicators before we round up for today. And one of them is we're expecting inflation to come any moment from now. We'll also look at the inflation that came for the month of February and March. We're expecting for the March one in April. And my colleague here, Tunde, also.
I think the inflation will come if sometimes they delay 1 or 2 days. It's supposed to come on the 15th of April. Then what is the expectation? The fuel price is still up.
Yes.
The security challenge are still there. The roads are not, it's not as if the roads are very good.
The mismatch policy is still there.
The mismatch policies are still there. Then most of the things that are affecting inflation are still there. So you ask me, where do I expect the inflation figure for the month of March? It's up. I don't know. You see, I'm not trying to predict how it's going to go.
To maintain the trend that have been
so nothing had been adjusted the electricity bill is still a challenge. The government have came and said they are going to give us prepaid free of charge, but this is not what we are actually seeing. So things are still not okay. And the truth about it is that the income of of Nigerians have not changed. Everything is still at the same level. So if you ask me where I expect inflation figure, it's up.
Okay. That is good. But like what you just said, I believe that it will maintain that uptrend. Also, being that this also planting season. When it's planting season, foods are not available.
Planting season that you are having problem accessing your farm.
No, I mean the planting that it's not a harvest.
You are having problem transporting your farm. Farm product to the market. So yes, the product will come out, but how do you turn it to money? What are the challenges that are there before that made the price go up? Have the challenges been withdrawn? No. Are they still there? Yeah, so where do you expect?
We expect the inflation to still look up for the month of March, and also for that of April. But we expect a little adjustment down as from the month of May. If the government will put the right policy in place, that will happen. That's the way I see it. And investors or traders will take advantage of this economic data as they are coming, because they're going to give you insight. I see that a higher inflation rate would threaten most fixed income positions, that investment window, and others. But I will tell you, for equity and other investment market, for fixed income investment, high inflation rate would definitely put them on a deeper negative return.
And that's why I said, whatsoever takes people out of the stock market will still bring them back.
Exactly.
So whichever way you look at it, it's still a place to be.
Yeah.
Because if you know how to play your games, you will stand high, even against inflation. And again, we are expecting the GDP, the first quarter of 2021, this month also on the 30th of April. And so that will be the first result that the GDP will see after recovering from
last quarter,
the recovery we saw last quarter. So we want to see if the recovery will be maintained, or maybe we are already having challenges. So this GDP figure is something to expect. It's very important, if you ask me.
Just like what you just said, I was on a program yesterday, and I was telling them that the right thing we're looking at now in Nigeria is not whether we are coming from a recession or we are going to another one or there's anything. What matters is that it's our policy that brought us out of the recession first. Are we going to continue with those policies, or are we going to sit down? Like, consistency is very important. In this part of the world, once you succeed, they don't look at their strategy again. If your strategy that brought you out of recession from third quarter negative 3.62 to fourth quarter positive 1.11, look at those policies. Are they still there? Are you sustaining them? Because if there is no continuity, if there is no flow from what you cannot sustain that this thing is sustainable. You cannot say we are coming out. Not that after we have seen positive 0.11, we're not seeing another positive now in first quarter. Second quarter, we are down again. No, we need the word consistent policy. That is why I said policy mismatch in Nigeria and policy method is a major problem. That means the policy makers or the two policy authority, the fiscal and the monetary policy, to sit down and work as a team so that they will be bringing with conflict, policy that will counter each other. I believe that when the CPR government was saying that when it came forward for the second term, that yes, they are targeting that inflation should go as low as what is around 9, below 10. That which is everybody was happy. But immediately they came on that day, they closed our border. Since that day they closed our border in August to date, it will have a consistent rally in inflation. Even when we reopen the border, there is still opening. That is that we need to sit and say, where have we missed it as a nation?
The border opening, is it full opening or partial?
Whether partial,
because I think they only allow some stuff to come in, not just, some items to come in, not just everything. But again, if you ask me, I think one lesson that our government should learn from COVID-19 and everything that happened is that when you support the companies in your country, you can actually perform better.
Okay. That means intervention are proven.
The little intervention that we saw you see where it's brought Nigerians. So if they decide to withdraw it now,
is it Nigerians or the country? Because as we are speaking now, our unemployment rate is even higher than the city in Nigeria. Because like I tell you, we have a lot of things to
do you know that COVID-19 showed you and I how we can operate online?
Yes, I agree with you.
COVID-19 showed us that most of the offices that we hold in our various it's not necessary.
I agree with you.
So a lot of jobs will be lost. But the after effect of this is that some people are going to find their level.
Another
yes, because working online, you can actually do 2-3 jobs together, and you will do it very well. Because it's not like when somebody will go and lock you up in the office, you resume by 8, you close by 6 p.m., and you see, things are changing. We may see unemployment increasing now, but with time, you realize that people are going to start coming up with ideas, and the country will be better.
I like that you said coming with ideas. That means we expect that government also go in that means that we are supporting these ideas. Because that is the only way we can create jobs. You can see them anywhere in the world, it's the entrepreneurs, small scale business that employ. It's not the government that employ. Then we need to invest in our small scale business so that we can absorb these people. This will help us to reduce unemployment. I believe that the government, I think if government listen, we'll give them. I know that they know all this, but let them put it into action by what investing. Yes, they are giving loans. Let them make it more friendly for retail and also train them. You're not just giving somebody loan, let the person understand what he's doing. Knowledge is power in the end of your business. Whether you are in manufacturing, you are in security, you are in tailoring, you need knowledge. Once you have knowledge, you can run your business well. And on this note, we'll draw the curtain for today and I'll say thanks for listening to us. God bless you. I just want a paper split.
Sure.